What makes a community? Who are its people? What are the traditions? Stay tuned for Sonoran Style, a program with an accent on Tucson. Learn how the footprints of the past show us the way to the future. See Ponies del Pueblo gallop into town. Artist William Lesch shows us a familiar world in a way we've never seen it before. And Mariachi Tierra del Sol comes home. Sonoran Style, a desert reflection of our world.
Well, welcome to Tumacacori. My name is Padre Rogelio, and I'm glad that you're able to join me today.
Tumacacori Mission, established in the 1700s by Jesuit priests, has withstood the test of time. The thick adobe walls, pockmarked by time, evoke a feeling of peace within and a glimpse at a different way of life.
So, well, come and join me. We're just talking about the Oatam house here. I start by talking about the people that were here, the Oatam Indian that were here. Now, they also called them the Pima.
When Father Kino and the Jesuit priests made their way to this rocky, flat place, the Oatam Indians were living a peaceful life as farmers on the Santa Cruz River. Other tribes were not so peaceful.
Very few people die from the Apaches, but hundreds of times they raid. Now, for the most part, they want the food, the horses, the cows, and the children.
The footprints of the past make for powerful stories.
But more so, I think for me, it's a feeling that I might have and about Tumacacori, a very powerful place. I feel to stepping into the shoes of the people that came before.
At the turn of the century, and after the expulsion of the Jesuits, the Franciscans came to the mission and began building the church that sits here today. The breeze in the half-finished bell tower stands testament to 25 years of back-breaking work. Unfortunately, life proved to be too harsh at this desert outpost, and the mission was abandoned in 1848. Over the years, treasure hunters have searched Tumacacori for what Father Rogelio calls fool's gold.
There is no treasure, but yet there is a treasure. Not the kind to take with you, but the kind that you see and you feel.
Light dancing on the empty niches and the smell of dry adobe create pictures that capture the imagination. This simple but elegant mission was established to convert the natives to Christianity.
And my experience is that the people that take the new religion in the indigenous culture, they embrace it. And so for a moment, I want to ask you to step in the shoes of the people that go to the Mass here. That they work hard to build this church, and they're enjoying the Mass at the time. Mater misericordiae, ita tu cedo, et spes nostra salve.
The echoes of many funeral masses and rosaries can be heard as you enter the cemetery. Almost 600 people are buried here, but their stories continue.
The one thing I have to share is that Tumacacori is a treasure. It's a very special place. But the other thing I need to share with you is a little secret that I have, and that is I don't always talk like this, is I'm not a priest. And so I'm a park ranger. Thank you guys for joining me. And my name is Roy, by the way.
Roy Simpson has been giving living history tours at Tumacacori for almost 10 years. He was a Peace Corps volunteer and has lived in both Africa and Honduras. He uses those personal experiences to tell his stories.
I think of myself as a park ranger first, and educator, interpreter second. Hola. ¿Cómo está? I educate. The difference is I'm trying to take the language of the mission and put it into a language that people can understand. That's what we mean by interpretation. And so that is my real passion.
Tumacacori, just south of Tucson, became a national monument back in Teddy Roosevelt's time. Now a national park, its mandate from Congress is to preserve the mission as a ruin.
I think more than anything else is I want people to take a critical look at both the history and their personal relationship to it. The dates are not important. What's important is that the people were here, that lived here, were just like you and I. They're real people, and they had the sorrows and the joys just like we do. Yes, you're very welcome if you'd like to.
Roy admits he wasn't much of a history buff growing up, but when he started putting on the robe, he discovered a whole new world.
I just think Tumacacori is a very, very special place. I think as a park ranger, I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I think that there's a spiritual significance to Tumacacori. But sometimes I'll be in tears, you know, it just, every once in a while it just grabs me. If I can put my soul and my body into it, you know, my heart and soul into it, then it's going to translate to the people.
It's an exhibition spread all over town, each piece of art temporarily hitched to a Tucson landmark. Ancient Crossing and Wish You Were Here are pastured at Tucson Botanical Gardens. The Arizona Inn is home to Airstream Pony. University Medical Center takes special care of Healer. Behind the walls of Tucson Children's Museum, it's Pony on a Golden Path. And there are more, 34 in all. Together, they're the Ponies del Pueblo.
A lot of the things that I've pictured for this may not work out. I had this toy horse. I found it out in the garage, and I thought it would be great to practice some of the ideas just to see how they were going to play out.
Each pony has an artist. When Eleanor Colas finally got her pony, she wasn't completely sure what she was going to do with it. She didn't even know what to call it. Clearly, this was not going to be your average paint job.
And as I'm cleaning the horse, it's really kind of nice because I can get a feel for all the different forms.
And it gave Eleanor some time to think. Her big question?
How can I make this work as an art piece? Someone told me once in a chess game there's 8 octillion possibilities. I think there's more here.
On paper, Eleanor had at least 7. There was Bony Pony, Horse Feathers, Pony Express, Pool Pony, Prickly Pony, Seahorse, and the one selected by the jury, Macaroni Pony.
Not my favorite. Kind of a fun name, but it was just the dish the macaroni was in. I didn't like the way that worked on the horse, and it would have been a little tedious painting all that macaroni. So the Macaroni Pony was not something I was attached to.
That spelled the end of Macaroni Pony. But now the pressure was on.
And press real hard.
Publicity for Ponies del Pueblo, a project of the Tucson Pima Arts Council, had already begun, and Eleanor's horse needed a name. The one selected?
Horse with no name.
Say again?
Horse with no name.
So, Eleanor's pony would have a name. Sort of. And if Horse with No Name suggests a popular song from the 70s, so be it.
I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain.
As the time got nearer to start painting, I got more and more attached to the idea of that song.
I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain.
While the imagery suggested by the lyrics is clear, the method used to paint images on a pony is not.
It's amazing how the gentle curves of the horse will throw you off. It could get pretty messy before it gets good. That's the best part of any project I do, is that it's open-ended and I get to work out the problems as I go, and as I work on it, it will speak back to me. I will see something that I never would have dreamed of before I started. And that's what makes art something worth doing.
Remember this first group, we're gonna do the coyote pokey.
Here's something else that makes art worth doing.
Okay, and let's start off, we'll take Sparky. It doesn't matter what order you come in.
Ponies del Pueblo is a public art project, but more importantly, it raises money to support local nonprofits. Proceeds from the sale of Horse with No Name benefit the kids here at Trot, therapeutic riding of Tucson.
Okay, you guys, we're ready to start our show.
A lot of people think that it's just a pony ride.
Trot provides a fun-filled, therapeutic exercise experience for kids with a variety of physical and emotional disabilities. Today, these children are presenting the skills they've learned to their schoolmates from Ocotillo Elementary.
And ready?
Ready?
And trot.
What I see when I watch the kids out there, I know that they're working on a lot of balance, and they have improved their balance because the horse, as they do those little tiny circles, they have to really move and work to stay on the horse. A lot of that type of thing is for balance and fun. These kids really enjoy it, and they get exercise in ways that they don't get in any other way. And just seeing the smiles on their faces makes all the hours worthwhile.
Chris Sanchez is here to watch his daughter cricket. For her, he says Trot has made a world of difference.
Let's put it this way. My daughter didn't start walking until she was 4 years old. So, yeah, it helps. This is her second year in the Trot program. It's helped her a lot. As far as her balance is concerned, her self-esteem, as far as being able to control her body.
Okay, cricket.
I mean, she loves this. This is her week. This is all she talks about.
Good job, baby. Good job, Mom. Let me see. Oh, my, beautiful. Good job.
Finally complete, the Colas pony stands guard at its temporary home, Tohono Chul Park, a desert preserve on Tucson's northwest side. Now it waits for its rightful owner, and a chance to support the children of trot. Not too bad for a horse with no name.
I love the way photography renders the world.
William Lesch has been showing us our desert in ways we couldn't have imagined. Scenes just out our back door have a familiar and spectacular radiance.
I always think of Bill as one of these photographers who makes pictures and not takes pictures.
For over 20 years in Tucson, Terry Etherton has been showing us photographs.
These are some of the still lives that he did that are pretty amazing.
And since very early on, photography by William Lesch has been in the gallery.
These are the ones I was with him on. These are down in San Carlos. I was fairly new to Tucson, and I was very familiar with sort of traditional landscape and images from southern Arizona, but I hadn't seen anybody go out and interpret the landscape like Bill had done.
Shocking color covers desert hues. It was experimental photography, recording the details of time. Lesch found a technique to splash color on the scene.
Bill actually would go out into the landscape with colored lights and set up a camera at dusk typically and make a daylight exposure. Wait till it got completely dark, the camera is still in the same position, and then open the lens after dark and walk through the scene with portable lighting equipment and colored gels and actually paint the scene.
The Western Landscapes by Ansel Adams and photographs by Edward Weston were strong influences in the beginning. Lesch came west to find his own landscapes.
When I'd look at the landscape, especially on a day where it's really, which I love, is days where there's a lot going on, there's a storm or the wind's blowing, how do I record that?
Photographs sprouting with color brought notoriety and commercial success.
Didn't really know what to expect, and I went to pick up the film at the lab, and I just was like, whoa, I guess that worked. Seeing the film come up and not knowing what to expect, to me that's sort of the magic of photography. There was something about the color work that I think connected with a lot of people.
2 books were published, one from Spain, and a better-known volume was published in Japan.
The book is still out there in bookstores, and it was sold all over the world. That I think was a pivotal thing that happened in Bill's career to get him known outside this area.
As the color work progressed, the pictures became predictable. The magic was beginning to fade.
I reached a point where I felt like it was becoming sort of I wasn't growing anymore with it, it was like a formula.
The landscape Lesch was drawn to was vanishing. He was left with some difficult and haunting questions.
What's happening to the land, what we've been doing to the land, how the landscape was changing. I mean, I was having to look harder and harder for that sort of untouched landscape.
Lesch needed a new way to see the world. Then something happened, right out of the blue. A new partner walked into the picture. It was someone close at hand.
Well, that'll work all right. And here it just happened that my son decides he wants to be a pilot. He goes through, he gets his license, so naturally, as soon as he got his license, he said, "Dad, you got to come up." I'm like, well, I guess I got to go up.
It was the perspective Lesch was looking for. A new way to see the land, a new way to photograph the landscape.
I didn't really know if I was going to see things that I would want to photograph or not.
Once I got my pilot's license, about 2 days after that, he had me take him up and go photograph, and then we went up every day after that for like a week.
That first flight, I hadn't been up in the air for a minute, and I started shooting, and I didn't quit till we came down. You know, we were up for 2 hours, I think. I went through every roll of film I had, and I love it.
When the artist looked at the land again revealed herself. An old theme returned.
When I first went flying, I think that's one of the first things that struck me. You realize how small those spaces are. You realize how big man's footprint is. We're having an effect on the landscape. People, we are the landscape.
Lesch's aerial photography was included in a show of Arizona artists at the Tucson Museum of Art. His new direction now inspires new dialogue.
What it does is it makes both a commentary on what we do to our land, to the beauty of nature, but also, in a very strange twist, how beautiful ravaged lands can also be.
I'm trying to talk about, you know, not really make judgments, but just look at, you know, what is this? What are we doing to the landscape? Here's what we're doing, you know. Is this what we want to be doing?
Questions Lesch asks himself as he photographs the landscape. Questions some of us may not want to hear.
A lot of people probably aren't real crazy that I'm shooting mines who followed my earlier work. You know, it's like, why is he shooting this ugly stuff?
It may sometimes be a horrible beauty that Lesch compels us to see. What we now know is, as the scenes change in our desert landscape, William Lesch will be there to show us.
Shadowed by a mountain, this house in the Menlo Park barrio is bursting at the seams.
The name of our group is Mariachi, Tierra del Sol, and that means land of the sun.
Here we go again, guys.
"14 musicians are jammed into every nook and cranny, literally jamming away.
People that know me, they know I'm a fanatic about mariachi music. I've been since I was a young man, even before I was a mariachi. It gives me a feeling, a personal feeling of just a great gratification, enjoyment, just to perform. Whether we're performing for a house party, a backyard barbecue, or for a full arena, the love of the music for me is still there. I enjoy it.
Guitarist Jaime Ballesteros is the leader of the group and also a father figure.
I broke into mariachi quite old, actually. Most of the people in our band are quite young. I was a late bloomer, you might say, to mariachi. I probably got in when I was about almost 30 years old.
All of these musicians were born and bred in Tucson. John Aldecoa has been playing with Jaime since he was 16.
There's something about mariachi music that just strikes a chord with you at a young age. It comes from the heart, the music comes from the heart, and I think you can't help but get caught up in that, even as a young kid.
Mariachi music has been around for over 100 years. Its deep roots in the Hispanic culture have made Tucson a mecca for this special sound.
so easily adaptable to any type of music. Mariachi music, mariachi instrumentation can be applied to just about any kind of music, blues, rock, salsa, all those different styles of music. You can incorporate the mariachi instrumentation because they're so flexible.
Jaime is a traditionalist. He likes the old-style corridos, boleros, the soft, romantic songs. But the younger generation has some different ideas.
I'm a mariachi. I've been playing mariachi music for a long time, but I also grew up listening to Journey, listening to Jimmy Buffett, listening to American music. So I'm kind of a combination. I really, really like mariachi, traditional mariachi music, but I also enjoy singing Brown Eyed Girl.
John plays the vihuela, a guitar-like instrument that sounds like a lead rhythm or percussion instrument. He says it's kind of like a portable snare drum. It does all the fancy beats and rhythms that you hear in mariachi. But even after strumming for more than 15 years, he says he still gets nervous before a gig.
Tierra del Sol. Nosotros, bienvenidos.
A big warm welcome, Tucson.
There's always that adrenaline rush when you perform, whether you're playing mariachi music or you're playing, polka music or whatever you're doing. I think that's kind of what keeps us driving as an artist, as a musician.
I used to play as a sideline, as a hobby. Now, this is all I do. I play mariachi music for a living now. I actually do it as a living. And for me, it's like being paid to play baseball, being paid to play golf. It's things you just love to do and enjoy doing, and that's why it's just a very big part of my life.
The other members of the group may not get to play full-time, but the music is every bit as much of a passion.
Anybody can play music. Well, not everybody can play mariachi, because mariachi music comes from the heart. To me, it's just a way to share and express my culture with the audience. Whether that audience is two people sitting at a table enjoying a dinner or in front of a stage in front of 10,000 people. It's music of the heart.
Para ver si me dejaban otro ratito dormido.